Hey y'all, this is Rob Renfro. This is our last video from Portland. I want you to get a shot of the media room. We've been here, a good number of our staff, for nearly 2 weeks, some of us for more than 2 weeks. And as you can see, there's been a lot of work done in this room, a lot of great work that has really paid off. I'm very grateful for our team, very proud of them, and so glad that I can give you this last report. I want to give you something of an overview of what's happened here over the last couple of weeks. Kind of tell you some of the positives, a little bit of the negative, and then maybe pull out our crystal ball and look at what might come about in the future. So positives. Well, first of all, we reaffirmed our biblical, nuanced, balanced position regarding sexuality and marriage. We continue to say that marriage is one man and one woman. We continue to say that all people are welcome in our churches and that all persons are persons of sacred worth, but that the practice of homosexuality is incompatible with Christian teaching, and that our pastors cannot marry two same-gendered persons, and that we do not ordain self-avowed practicing homosexuals. Now you might say, well, that's the same thing we went in with. Is that really a victory? Let me tell you, it really is. If you knew all the forces that are working against us, you would be proud of our team and all the work they did to hold the line. The third way proposal, a way that was billed as a compromise, something that would keep us together. That plan was backed by the Connectional Table, our most influential and important administrative body within the church, by many of our best known and most influential pastors, and by some bishops. That plan would have allowed individual pastors to decide whether they would marry gay persons and whether various parts of the country would be able to ordain practicing gay persons. The fact that we were able to hold the line against all of those influencers and all of those resources is really remarkable. I'm very proud of our delegates that they did the work to understand that that compromise was anything but. That it was not a plan to hold us together as it was billed, but that it was a plan that would have caused the church to end up in schism. And I'm very proud of our team that sent out a great amount of educational materials beforehand to make certain that our delegates had a good chance to really understand what's going on. So we leave here with a good, balanced, biblical position. I'm proud of that. And we also leave here with the progressives who would change our position, knowing that their view is the minority view. All of their proposals, including the third way, failed miserably in our first week here in our committee work. And they knew there was no reason to bring those proposals to the plenary session because they would go down as well. Yesterday I told you about a great victory that the United Methodist Church broke its relationship with the RCRC, the Religious Coalition for Reproductive Choice. That is a lobbying organization that uses the name of God and has been using the name of the United Methodist Church to promote any abortion anytime for any reason. We are very grateful that a few people continue to fight this battle for 15 years to educate the delegates of the General Conference about that organization, to fight those who would be disingenuous about telling us what that group does, and that people saw through all of the smoke screens, all of the misrepresentations, and finally decided that we would do the right thing. So I'm grateful to be able to report that to you. Also, I want to tell you that just this morning, the General Conference allotted an additional $5 million for theological training in the Central Conferences, primarily in Africa. That's important. Christianity, through the Methodist Church, is growing very rapidly in that continent. We're reaching people in incredible ways. But it's important that as we reach people, that we also are able to provide them with a depth of teaching that comes only from good theological training. And our African brothers and sisters have been asking for more help in training their pastors and making certain that their people get really good teaching. And so I'm very happy to report that we have made a significant investment and their education and the further growth of that church. And in a related matter, we have agreed to send 5 bishops for the Africans to have 5 more bishops in 2020. Again, that may not seem like much to you, but there is a huge need for that. One country alone, the Democratic Republic of Congo, is the size of the United States east of the Mississippi. They have something, I believe, 3 bishops covering something like 3 million members. They need more oversight, more pastoral shepherding, more administrative oversight for those churches to be faithful and to be run well. And so I'm grateful that that has occurred. So those are just a few of the highlights that I can walk away from this conference and feel very good about. Now, for the negative, I would say that honestly, in terms of legislation, there's not much negative to report. And I should also say that when it came to the elections, there was nothing negative to report. We elected 5 fine persons to the Judicial Council, people who are committed to interpreting the discipline properly. We now feel very good about almost all of those on that most important body that we think of as our Supreme Court. In the difficult days ahead, we are going to be glad that we have people who are committed to the discipline as it is written as they interpret the laws of the church. As for the elections of the University Senate, there were 4 positions open. We got all 4. That's important. That Senate determines what schools may be set aside and approved by the United Methodist Church for the training of United Methodist students and United Methodist seminarians. So we're very grateful that we have elected some great persons that are going to give good insight to that. The negative then, not so much that we lost anything, but the negative is that, again, we are reminded that we are going to be in this battle against a progressive sexual ethic seemingly forever. The progressives are not going away. You might think that after 40 years or more and that they have lost every time, and this time maybe most significantly than ever, you might think that they would have enough. And people have asked me, why don't they just leave? They want a different kind of church, why don't they just leave? Well, because they believe that they are fighting for justice. And they actually tell me they believe they are fighting for the way of Jesus. And they don't want to go have a little church where they can provide justice for LGBTQ persons. They want to change the United Methodist Church. They want to change the culture. They tell us that they believe that that is their spiritual imperative. And what that means is they cannot quit fighting. They cannot just go away. They are here to stay. I want to tell you that this is no easy fix. We can't just win another election and then everything's going to get better. We are either going to find a way to resolve this, a way that's not yet apparent, or we're going to be in the struggle for an awfully long time. What's going to happen in the future? Of course, that's difficult to project, but this battle is going to go on. This battle is going to continue, and what we're likely to see in the next few years are more and more acts of disobedience. We're going to see more gay weddings. We're going to see more boards of ordained ministry refuse to find someone disqualified for ministry because he or she is in a partnered gay relationship. We're going to find more and more bishops not willing to enforce the Book of Discipline in a significant way. We're going to find that this battle is going to get worse before it gets better. Now, the one thing that might change this, and I hope and pray it might, is this commission that the bishops have proposed and that the General Conference has adopted. This commission is to meet, and then in a called General Conference, in either 2 or 3 years, will come together, and that commission will then present a solution or some solutions to the problems that we're facing, what's dividing us. I am hoping and praying that that commission will, first of all, be fairly representative, not so much of regional parts of the church or even demographics, though those were important, but fairly representative of real theological viewpoints and of leaders of various movements within the United Methodist Church, both progressive and conservative. We'll find out soon, and as soon as we find out, we'll let you know if that's the case. If it is, we may be able to get to some kind of fair and just resolution of what we're facing. We may be able to come up with some creative solution. Or if not, we may have to face reality that we are two churches pretending to be one, and then we'll have to decide what to do with that. I do want to correct a misimpression. We've heard from people all over the country saying we can't take it anymore, the bishops have proposed a moratorium, they're not going to enforce the discipline. I understand why people may have gotten that impression from what they stated when Bishop O presented this, but that's not the reality. They said they were going to try to avoid complaints and trials, and they always try to avoid those. They always try to come to some kind of resolution that doesn't have to involve any kind of trials or litigation. Some bishops already have not been enforcing the discipline with real integrity, but others have, and that's not going to change. We're going to expect to see what we have been seeing. My hope is that you will not misunderstand where we are. We are in the same place that we've been. The Orthodox renewal and reform movements are more committed than ever to representing you and your beliefs and standing firm on the scriptures and calling the United Methodist Church back to our biblical, Christ-centered, Orthodox Wesleyan faith. We are going to be fighting for you, whether we're on that commission or not. And I do believe that our bishops are wise enough to make certain that we are very fairly represented. We've had a few other people who say, well, I just can't take it. Even if there's not a moratorium, I'm just tired of a church that still fights this battle. I can get that. I'm tired of this battle too. But don't give up. We're close. Whatever God has in mind for us. I know we can't go on this way forever. I don't think we can go on the way that we are now much longer. And that's what the General Conference said. We need a commission that can seek God, that can work together, and then whatever the reality is, admit it, and then whatever solution might be possible, even if it's things we don't want to do, that commission's job is to put it out there, make us deal with it, and then come to some kind of resolution. To not give up, to not walk away. We are, I think, close to seeing what God will do to resolve this. And I can promise you that whatever that involves, those of us who are Orthodox biblical Christians, we will remain together, we will remain strong, we will act strategically, and if we are together, I can promise you that we can find a way to fulfill God's calling upon us and to step into a truly faithful and vibrant future, not just for our churches, but for the work of God through us so that we can reach the world with the good news of Jesus Christ. Well, I hope you get a feel of what's happened here in Portland. It's a beautiful place. We've enjoyed being here. The people have been very kind and generous to us. We thank all of those who served on the hospitality team from this great city. It is a marvelous place to visit. Stay in touch with us. Follow us on Facebook. You can also go to our website, goodnewsmag.org. We'll be sending out more videos from time to time just to communicate with you. And stay tuned. We have some things planned in the near future, I think, that will give you hope and give you a real sense of direction. God bless you.